All right, welcome back. Just before the kickoff to the NFL season, the NAACP announced plans to boycott the NFL until Colin Kaepernick is on a roster. Now, as you know, Kaepernick, the former San Francisco 49ers quarterback who refused to stand for the national anthem, kneeling as a protest against police brutality. He once took his team to the Super Bowl, but it seems now no team wants to sign him. The president of the NAACP doesn't think that's a coincidence. Associate Professor of Sociology Dr. Jeffri Wilder with the UNF Race Institute is still with us. And this is a good conversation we told you we were going to have. So what do you think about Kaepernick still not being signed?
I think he needs to get signed. I mean, let's just move forward. I really appreciate and really understand the NAACP's, the Atlanta chapter's, decision to boycott the NFL. Colin Kaepernick is also a member of a fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi. They have also en masse decided to boycott the NFL in support of him. So I think, his decision, which has been a year ago, this was a year ago he made that decision. We've still been talking about it for the past year. I think it was brave. We understand where he's coming from. I think now let's get this man signed so he can continue to do the good work that he's doing on the field that we saw him doing off the field.
But what about those people who are saying he knew what he was doing, he knew that the blowback he would get and the potential consequences of it?
Well, I mean, he's not the first NFL player to be controversial and for people to be talking about. And honestly, he didn't hurt anyone. He didn't abuse anyone.
He didn't kill anyone. He didn't rape anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and so, I mean, he's standing up for what I believe is a really, really good cause. So I think, again, we should allow this man to be signed so he can do the work that he's supposed to do.
Okay, so the Jags were saying, real quick, just because I think this only came out like yesterday, a lot of people are saying that the Jags should have signed Kaepernick. And what I thought was really interesting,
they were saying
Spike
they should have signed Tim Tebow too.
Well, right, okay. But, so Spike Lee, who's a famous African-American film director, he criticized Jags owner, specifically Shad Khan, saying that we can't really ignore the politics of it because Lee pointed out that Khan and 4 other NFL owners gave $1 million each to Trump's inauguration. And even
though they were in cahoots together.
And that's what he's saying. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that's necessarily
Why don't you
what
ask him how much he gave to Clinton's administration as well, because that's right there with it.
And that's what Spike Lee's saying. It's like, it's a boys club. The NFL is a total boys club. Like, you're not going to get signed just off of your talent sometimes.
I disagree. I actually think that the only thing I will say about this is that it was very divisive on the team. And whenever things are divisive, it's problematic in the locker room. And like I said 1,000,000 times while this was happening, I don't disagree with his stance at all. I think you need to stand for what you believe, and I think you need to stand up for what you. And he's got a huge platform. I just feel like his timing was very poor, and I think a lot of people agree with that stance. Is that that's game day, and everyone's supposed to be on the same page and in one accord, and it's the United States of America flag that was being honored. It wasn't, that wasn't the time. Right then, it was time to be a team, and he chose his personal agenda over the team's, and a lot of teammates did not like that. Even though they agree with his position, I agree with his position. Again, it was the timing. And so I just think that, I'll say this, like you said, there are consequences for some of our decisions. And he opted out of his contract with the 49ers. It wasn't the 49ers slamming the door on him. He opted out of it. So now he is not on a payroll by his own doing. So I don't know that this is really an NFL issue.
On the flip side of that timing,
those are just some,
right. But on the flip side of that timing, like Dr. Wilder, when is the best time to make this kind of statement?
Wow.
When you've got millions of people watching, it's like they're watching. You do a press conference, you put up an Instagram post, plenty of people are going to miss that. So when would be the best time?
Unfortunately, we keep seeing different incidents occur that remind us that every day is the right time. I mean, Charlottesville took place not even 2 weeks ago. We're continuing to have these conversations. I think that one of the best things that has come out of this is that we're still talking about this a year later. This hasn't been swept under the rug. The thing I take issue with is what I was saying earlier. There are so many other NFL players who off the field have behaved very, very badly.
Poorly, correct.
Some very egregious behavior.
I wonder if things are going to be different now, because since some of the white NFL players have now joined in with him to protest.
I've seen that.
We may get a little different reaction now. It'll be interesting if we do. It'll be very, very interesting, especially the white NFL player who has the African-American wife.
From the Cleveland Browns.
Absolutely, absolutely. He says, look, I have to raise a child, so I have to take a stand for this because I'm taking my child into consideration. So it's good to see that some Caucasian players are now taking a stand with him and supporting him. So we'll see now if we get a different outcome.
But are the players in the position of power to make the decision about whether or not Kaepernick gets another job? Though?
No, they're not. No, they're not. But it's solidarity.
I mean, it needs to be more than the players,
and
right?
I'm sure you've watched on social media all the talk about if he is not placed, how many African American people plan to ban the NFL and not support the NFL. Hit him in the pocket and things change. It's just that simple.
Well, something else that we wanted to talk about was something that we talked about yesterday, the backlash ESPN is getting after changing the announcer of a college football game because of his name. As a reminder, announcer Robert Lee, not Robert E. Lee, was scheduled to call the game between Virginia and William and Mary. Lee shares a name, obviously, with the famous Confederate general Robert E. Lee. And after what happened in Charlottesville over that statue, the Robert E. Lee statue, ESPN feared there could be an issue. Dr. Wilder, what did you think? Did you think it was an overreaction or it was fair?
Complete and total overreaction. I mean, taking this man off of his assignment and putting him somewhere else, because, you know, I think it really just aggravates the issue. I mean, it shows that ESPN, instead of saying, you know what, really doesn't matter, this, you know, announcer doesn't have anything to do with, you know, what happened in Charlottesville. Right, or use that as an opportunity to say something quick about it and move on.
You know,
continue to announce the game.
You know what this shows? It just shows how inept we are at dealing with this situation. I mean, it really is. It just highlights how
it shows an oversensitivity about the wrong things.
In an attempt to do something right, you're wrong. Like we are so inept at dealing with this, and it's so sad to watch people misnavigate their way through these waters.
Why do you think we're so sensitive right now?
Well, why? Why? Look at our political climate. It's a disaster.
It's divisive, insanely divisive.
We're more divisive than we've ever been.
And I can't get over the fact that Robert Lee is obviously an Asian man. I can't
when I saw this picture, I cried laughing. I was like, oh my goodness, really?
This is a non-issue.
It's like if he were a white man who had maybe posted, you know, Confederate sympathizing statements on Facebook, it'd be different. But he's an Asian man who just wants his name and his job, and that's all he wants to do.
He's like, I'll just go by Robert.
I'm Bob.
I'm Big Rob from now on. Just call me Big Rob.
It's ridiculous.
All right, Dr. Wilder, thank you so much for joining us today, as always. All right, we'll be right back.
Don't miss the